If I had one wish, then what would it be? For each man and woman to live life in peace, to live without fear in a world that's secure. Some say it's a fool's dream, but I'm not so sure. I see all your faces on my TV, driven and hungry with eyes full of tears, mourning your children, fathers and friends, caught in a war that just never ends. How long will it be till your life is mine, and all I've believed in has turned into lies? With all that I am and all that I have, I send you this token, this love from my heart. Oh, I've seen a place much more than a dream, a place of such beauty it hurts just to see, a place of no pain, no crying, no war, where peace is the treasure that has been restored. If I had one wish, it would be this. It would be this.
Om Shanti, good evening. Brothers and sisters, just show wave of hand to welcome Brother Yogesh. Yeah, welcome Yogesh. He just arrived here about 2 p.m. this afternoon. Maybe a little bit introduction before we have the class this evening. Brother Yogesh is a national coordinator of all the Turkey centers. Turkey, you know where is Turkey? I think it's very, very famous, a big earthquake that happened last year. I don't know, probably that time Yogesh is still in Turkey that time, or you're in Turkey? Oh, Sri Lanka, yeah. He was in Sri Lanka during the big earthquake. Anyhow, you can share many experiences. But basically, Yogesh is actually took spiritual birth in UK, London, and then he has traveled around the world. And he's basically a personal development trainer and also workshop facilitator. And he conducted many workshops throughout the world, in Europe and Australasia, and then American. And then he held many seminars for many big companies around the world, like Microsoft, and then Adidas, IBM. But look at him, he's such a humble soul. So this evening, brothers and sisters, we have a very interesting topic, especially for our regular members. The topic is actually self-sovereignty. And that is the final destination. I think basically we teach Raja Yoga, correct? Raja. So, and I think important is Raja means king. We don't talk so much about the external king or queen. More important is the internal. So today's topic is self-sovereign, and Yogesh probably will need the board later, and those sisters in the back, you can come a bit nearer later on. Okay, so with that, hand over to you, Yogesh. Om Santi.
Om Shanti. Can you hear me okay? A bit louder. Is that better? Thank you, Pyobai, for a warm introduction. And it's my second time here. I think I was here about 5 years ago. Was anybody here at that time? Just a few. So it means I can make the same jokes again, I think. Yeah, so when Pyobai asked what topic for tonight, I gave 3 or 4 different ideas, and this one was the one that was chosen. And as the title suggests, this is the final destination, to be the self-sovereign. It is the end of the whole of the study of Raj Yoga, is to attain this state, this condition. Does it sound okay? A little bit of echo? Okay, I think it'll sort itself out. Now, there are many people in the world who work on topics like self-mastery, self-actualization, and so on, and to become something, to become the full expression of who you are as a person, as a human being. But for us, it's more than that. Because there's something unique we have, which nobody else has. That is, we have knowledge. We have the knowledge of the entire cycle. And one of the secrets that the knowledge tells us is that when you first came into this world, you were a self-sovereign. That condition of perfection, that total mastery over the self, that's who you really are, and that's how you were. And for these souls, for the deity souls, for half the cycle, we had experience of that. And then we lost it. We gradually lost it, and we became not the sovereigns, but the slaves of matter, the slaves of the 5 senses. And so now this whole study we're doing, this journey to reach self-sovereignty, it's a return journey. That's very important to bear in mind. It's not I am trying to become something I have never been before. Will I be able to reach? Will I not be able to reach? No, it's a return journey back to that which I was. And only the one who is beyond the drama of birth and death is able to reveal this to us. How fortunate we are that source, that intelligent being comes and reveals to us our entire story. And one has to understand the cycle deeply in order for this practice to be deep and meaningful. Now, consider it like this, as we were discussing this morning in Murli class at ARC, that we are in our 84th life. But we thought this was our first life. So it's like a person who's reading a book. He's on page number 84, but he thinks it's page 1. And so he doesn't understand the story. What's going on? Why this person is doing this? Why she said that? Why he did that? And somebody taps on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, I have some news for you. This is not page 81. This is page 84. There are 83 other pages before that." He thinks, wow, I never realized that. And it's the same for us. We were so locked into the reality of this life. This is me. I was born in this country. These were my parents. I went to this school. These are my brothers and sisters. I am the culture of a certain nationality. I went, married this person, maybe had some children. That became our reality. And then Baba taps on our intellect and says, "Excuse me, I have some news for you. You had 83 lives before this one." You think, "Oh, really?" He says, "Yeah, really." And it changes everything. We realize this current reality is just a small slice of my entire experience. And not just that, but he takes us right back to the beginning of our story. And he says, this is how you used to be, a divine, perfect, self-sovereign being. That's the real you. And when we have a taste of that, then the attachment to the current self begins to break. Because you realize that this is not the only reality. Now, one of the reasons why we develop attachments and then we become slaves to the senses and the vices is because we feel insecure. Now, what happens whenever you feel insecure, you will try to grab onto something, hold onto something to make yourself feel more secure. So when we are in the illusion that this is my entire reality, the mind begins to hold on to the identity of this life. Whether it's the name, gender, the nationality, the culture, the Lokik family, all of those things, we hold on to them with the mind because that's my reality. Now, if you try to pull something away from the mind, it can be a little bit painful. The mind will grab hold of it and pull it back. But instead, what Baba is telling us is use the knowledge and go into the unlimited. So for example, spin the cycle of self-realization. When we are body conscious, when we come to Baba, our intellect is like this, very narrow. So we see a very thin slice of reality, and therefore we misunderstand things. When we spin the cycle, what's happening is my intellect is becoming broader and broader, going into the unlimited. When you are in the unlimited, you feel very secure, very safe. Your consciousness is in the unlimited. And when you feel secure and safe, what does the mind do? Detach, yes. What's the opposite of holding on? Letting go, right? The mind begins to let go when we feel very deeply secure and safe. Quite naturally, you begin to feel, I no longer need this. And when you let go, then you feel free. And when you feel free, then you have real happiness, deep happiness, which is our original dharma, our dharam. How do you go from that state of limited reality to being in the unlimited? That is the purpose of spiritual knowledge, which is this rocket fuel which takes you into the unlimited. Now, there is the challenge for us. The knowledge that Baba gives, how much can I use it deeply, extract power from it, and take my consciousness into the unlimited, so I really experience that stage of being a self-sovereign. It's complete inner harmony, complete inner control. Self-sovereignty means there's total peace inside, total order, total coordination. And when a person is really deeply at peace with themselves, they spread that peace outside of them. Other people who are anxious and tense feel peaceful and calm down in the presence of somebody who is truly self-sovereign. So how to play with the knowledge to go deep into it? Let's look at one or two examples, and then we'll look at the model of self-sovereignty. Now, let's take the attachment to the current body. And as we mentioned, one of the reasons for attachment, I think this is all there is. But imagine being in a room of 84 people, all seated around in a big circle, and all of those are your past lives. You are having a meeting with all your past lives. How would you feel about that? Would you like to do that? Some of your lives, you were in a male body, some female body, right? Some you died old age, some you died maybe as a child. In some lives, skin color was like this, sometimes like that. All of these have been your past lives. And you're meeting, you're having a little cocktail party with all your past lives. Walking around, shaking hands, with your orange juice in the other hand. And meeting, saying, hello, number 28? Yeah, good. We had a good time there. Yeah. Number 64? Okay, not bad. 82? Okay, we won't talk about that one. So when you're meeting all of these, you realize you have worn all of these body costumes. This one is only one of them. So why I'm so attached to this one? All these have been my body costumes. So when you take your intellect into the unlimited, then you see, this is just one of 84. Why I am so attached to this one? This is the effect of using Gyan to go into the unlimited, and you feel secure, you feel safe, feel stable. Then naturally the mind lets go. And let's say you come here another day, and there are 168 people sitting in a big circle. And all of these are all the parents you've ever had. Right? 84 lives, 168 parents. And as you come into the room, all of them at the same time stand up and say, "My child, come to me." Now, which one will you go to? All are saying, "Come, come." So you'd feel, should I go to this one, that one? All have been your parents. And then you realize, in some lives, I have been their parents as well. Or brother, or sister, or husband, or wife, or cousin, or mama, or chacha, or something. Then you think to yourself, hang on, what's going on here? This is a big game. This is a theater. And it just changes your whole perspective. Who should I be attached to when all have been the parents? And Baba's trying to take us into that unlimited reality, to come out of these little boxes of attachment that we have become trapped in. Now, if you think of why is God God? What is the qualification that God has that makes him God? How come you are not God? And how come I'm not God? Is it still working? Yeah? Sorry? Yeah. Well, I apply these two words. He is always in the unlimited and in the eternal. Always. And therefore, he always has the correct view of reality. For the rest of us, we have a perspective on reality. And therefore, sometimes we get confused. We make a small thing into a big thing, sometimes a big thing into a small thing. But because he's always beyond and in the unlimited, he knows how to see the things properly. Now, for us, it happens sometimes, and Baba uses this phrase, that do not make a situation bigger than it really is. And it's the experience of many of us that, you may be worried about something, you may be anxious about something, you may be having lots and lots of thoughts and feeling a bit stressed, and then you mention it to some senior dadi, or those who used to go in Baba's time to Baba. And Baba would say, "Child, it's just a side scene. Why you are taking it so seriously?" You think, really? It's a side scene? Yeah, it's just a side scene. But the mistake we made, I made the side scene into the main scene. And I got lost in it. But for Baba, it's just a side scene. So why are you having extra thoughts about a side scene? If something is a side scene, it means you have to go past it. Not stop and, get lost in it. So how Baba knows something is a side scene? Because it's in the unlimited and in the eternal. Now the tool for us to also experience that is this extraordinary thing called Gyan, spiritual knowledge. And this title which Baba gives us, Swadarshan Chakradhari, it's really very, very important to spin the cycle for yourself. Think deeply about the cycle. Think how the soul goes through all those different stages as it passes through the cycle, and where we are at now. Now, in the world, everyone tries to conquer each other. And whether that's in the world of geopolitics, or it's in the business world, or it's in sport, or it's in entertainment, or it's in relationships. Everyone tries to conquer and have power over others. But here, Baba changes the whole game. He says the whole purpose of Raj Yoga is to be the self-sovereign, conquer the self. And so for this, he has given us a model to make us aware of the kingdom within each person. Do you know the inner kingdom? Do you know Baba's model of the inner kingdom? Yeah. This would mean yes, and this would mean no, this would mean perhaps. Yeah. So anyway, I'll draw it in any case. I'm going to put it there. And because this is really useful. It's from Sakha Baba's time, but it really helps us to know what is the destination. That's the marker, yeah? So, okay, thank you. So the inner kingdom. So here we have the king. That, of course, is the soul. And then in the kingdom we have ministers. So a quick revision, who are the ministers? Yeah, we have three ministers. Yeah, this is basic yarn lesson 1, but still very, very important again and again to revise these things. So we have the mind, we have the intellect, and as you know, we have the sanskars. And what else exists in a kingdom? You have a king, you have ministers, yeah, and you have the subjects. As you can see, in my last life, I was Pablo Picasso. Okay? So we have subjects. So these are the 3 stages. And here is the crown, here's the king. So this is how it used to be. In the Golden Age, there was perfect harmony and order in the kingdom. So the king would give some kind of order and say, okay, mind, think about something. The mind says, yes, sir, I'll think about it. Mind, stop thinking about that. Now think about something else. Will do, sir. Intellect, okay, let's make a decision what to do. Intellect immediately comes up with the right decision. And certain sanskars are needed, certain talents, certain virtues, according to the situation. And plus the 5 senses. What is the job of the 5 senses? Sorry? Okay, we have orders. Well, the ministers are carrying out the orders of the king, But what do the 5 subjects do? Well, see, the 5 sub-senses, their job is to bring information about the world to the soul, to the king. 5 different kinds of information: visual information, audio information, smells, taste, and touch. So why we have 5 senses, 5 different senses, 5 different kinds of information. All that information comes up through the central nervous system into the brain. The soul accesses that information and then responds. It's like the soul is sitting inside the brain looking at a computer screen. And all this information is coming up about what's happening outside, and the soul is typing a response. Now, in the Golden Age, the soul was responding to what was happening outside. In the Iron Age, the soul is reacting to what is happening outside. The response is a chosen and coordinated expression. Reaction is literally like a button is pushed and I react out of control. So what's happened in the Iron Age? The king, the soul, says to the mind, stop thinking too much. Stop worrying about something. The mind says, no, I'm going to worry more. I'm going to think more. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop worrying. I can't forgive so-and-so. Doesn't listen to the orders of the king. The king says to the intellect, what should I do in a particular situation? What should I do? What's the right decision? The intellect says, don't ask me. I don't know what to do. King says, your job is to provide a solution, a decision. Intellect gets all confused. Doesn't work properly. Can't make decisions. In some other situation, king says to the sanskars, okay, in this situation, I have to be very patient with this person. So the king orders patience. Instead, what comes out? Irritation, anger, getting upset. And so these ministers, they no longer listen to the orders of the king. There has been a coup d'etat. Coup d'etat? They have taken over. And the 5 senses have gone wild. So you see, you hear, taste, touch, smell something, and the thoughts, the mind gets pulled in all different directions. So that's how the condition used to be in the Golden Age, perfect harmony. In the Iron Age, we reach that condition where there is no self-control. The result of that is then there is distress for the self, and there's also then distress. We give that distress to others. So the essence, the very essence of Raj Yoga, the aim of everything we do in this Brahmin life is to re-attain this self-sovereign condition, self-sovereign state. So for that, we have to observe ourselves and check, what is my level of self-sovereignty in the daily life situations. Let's take 1 or 2 examples. Let's say you happen to be in a room somewhere, could be here, could be somewhere else, and 2 or 3 people are just chatting, and you hear your name. They are talking about you. Now, how would you feel? Let's say they're talking about you, you hear your name. When they notice When they notice you, they stop talking about you. So how do you feel? Not good? No? What do you think? What are they saying about me? Are they gossiping about me? Yeah? See? So at that moment, you may lose your peace of mind. You may lose your happiness. You may get a little bit irritated. What's happened there? Let's analyze the situation. The ears heard something. And because the ears heard something, now your state of mind has changed. So in other words, there, at that moment, the ear is sitting on the throne. The ear has pushed the soul off the throne and has become the boss. What I heard is now controlling me and has caused me to lose my happiness, my peace. That's called being in bondage to my sense organs. Now, if I'm a self-sovereign, okay, I may hear something, maybe I even hear the criticism, somebody is gossiping about me, but I will not allow that to cause me to lose my self-respect and my happiness. Self-sovereignty means you stay always on the throne. And from that state, you observe, you hear, you taste, touch, smell, maintaining your inner strength, maintaining your dignity. Now, we have seen some great examples of this, and those who have seen Bap Dada have seen the ultimate example. Who has seen Bap Dada in Madhuban? Some of you? Not so many, yeah? You know when Bap Dada used to come? Yeah. Right? Some have seen on the video, of course. And also Sakava. Ovyak Bap Dada, we have seen with the eyes of how he would come, he'd be there for many hours, gives drishti, speaks the murli, the hadiths come in front, he satisfies them, someone is singing, someone is dancing, someone is making noise, someone is doing this, hundreds are walking past, anything is going on. He's just chill. He's on his throne, observing, and satisfying everyone. Everyone is happy. And then when it's time to go, just withdraws, he goes. It's an incredible demonstration of what is true freedom. Himself, he is modeling it. We can watch the videos again and again to see how he is using the eyes, how he is interacting. Nothing controls him. He cannot be captivated, completely free. So then you think, okay, how to attain that stage? By always remaining seated on your golden throne. So one practice we can do, we will do in a moment, is you just visualize there is a golden throne at the center of your forehead. And like you, the soul, you are always on that golden throne, your throne of self-sovereignty. And just stay there all the time, whether you're on your own, whether you are talking to somebody, doing some karma yoga, you're talking in front of 1,000 people, you're driving. But the main thing is this: be on your golden throne of self-respect. Through that, naturally, the kingdom begins to harmonize. The reason why the ministers and the subjects do not obey the orders of the king is because the king has left the throne. The king got off the throne and started sitting on limited seats of respect. This started in the Copper Age, and then it just got deeper and deeper. Now, a seat is a symbol of authority and power. When somebody is seated in the right seat, they have power. It's like a judge, a high court judge. When he's sitting on the right seat, he can send you to jail, he can free you. But when you're not in the right seat and you're still trying to give orders, the ministers say, "Who are you to tell me what to do? You can't order me around." So Baba has told us, don't try to control your mind like that, but rather sit on your throne. Come back into the awareness. I am a peaceful soul, loveful soul, powerful soul. I am a child of God. I am a deity soul. I am an ancestor soul. These are called our titles of self-respect. If we practice seating our awareness in these titles, it gives us a lot of power. The mind begins to listen. The mind begins to calm down. So Baba has made it very easy for us. He said these are the things to practice in order to regain your sovereignty, in order to become the master of the self once again. So three words in Hindi which are quite similar. One is swadharam. Second is swaman. Third is swaraj. So swadharam, to be aware of the dharam of the self. And we know what that is. My dharam is shanti, peace. My dharam is joy, bliss. My dharam is love. My dharam is strength, inner power, etc. My dharam is purity. Baba has revealed these are the basic qualities of the soul. It is my dharam. When I'm aware of my dharam, that's who and what I am, that is called an act of swaman. Man to the true self. Man is honor, man is respect, man is regard. Honor, regard, respect for my true self. If I'm practicing to stay in that state of swaman, the result is eventually swaraja. I become the self-sovereign, the sovereign of my own self. This is just a question of practice. Throughout the whole day, remembering, practicing. Some of you may know that Brahma Baba's practice from the early 1930s onwards, even before he became Brahma, he would check his sense organs and have an interview with them. So at the end of the day, he would ask the eyes, ask the ears, did you see something which disturbed you? Did you hear something which caused you to get upset or to lose your peace? Thank you. And then, on a daily basis, just checking himself in this way. So too, we can do the same thing. At the end of each day, before going to sleep, just do a little review of your inner kingdom. Baba used to call this as holding court with your kingdom inside. Is there anything I saw or I heard, which are the two main senses, but also taste, touch, smell, which caused me to lose my swaman, to lose my true self-honor? What disturbed me today? What caused me to lose my happiness. And if you say, when I heard such and such a thing, I got a bit afraid, I got a bit irritated. So then you talk to the ear, okay, ear, next time you hear something like this, I'm not going to allow you to throw me off my throne and sit on my throne instead. Practicing recalibrating your relationship with your five senses. They need to be trained. They need to be put in their place only by you being on your place. When I'm seated on my golden throne, quite automatically and naturally, you see how the ministers begin to cooperate with you, and also the five senses. You feel like there's a buffer zone between you, the soul, and your five senses. Normally what happens when we are living in reaction mode, which is the normal way of living in the Iron Age, is something comes to us and we immediately react to it. But to be in the response mode, which happens when we are seated on our throne, is you feel there's like a buffer zone between you and the stimulus coming from the outside. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space, there is choice. When we work on improving our choice, that's where growth happens for us. Even in little situations, I hear this, I see this, I have a choice how I want to respond to what I see or what I hear. When we realize we have a choice, then we start working on improving that choice. And so in the yogi life, it is often said, no matter what happens in the outside, but do not lose your peace of mind and your happiness. And for this, the mind needs to be talked to. The mind needs to be trained and coached. We have to talk lovingly, but also in a firm way to really educate the mind. Reminding the mind, okay, mind, your peace of mind and your happiness is your personal property. Non-negotiable, full stop. And if you're living in that awareness, when things come up which could potentially bother you or disturb you, you start off from this position. Now, first my peace of mind and my happiness, then I'm going to see what I need to do in this situation. Practicing it builds up that habit of being a responder rather than being a reactor. Now, sometimes the mind can begin to panic, or have lots of waste thoughts or anxious thoughts. But again, here we have to use our intellect to guide the mind and educate the mind. Baba has told us that in this yogi life, as long as I have an honest heart and I'm really trying to put Baba's directions into practice, there is benefit in everything for us. Sometimes the mind will panic, where a situation comes in front of you which appears to be a situation of loss. Baba said it is only a curtain of loss. But behind the curtain, there is a treasure hidden away. When the mind is jumpy, insecure, it sees the curtain of loss and it begins to have waste thoughts, negative thoughts. So there we have to understand the mind is like a child. Now, what do you like about children? Some of you are parents here. What do you like about children? Innocent and Okay? And what do you not like about children? Not here. A child only knows what he or she wants, not what he or she needs, right? A child can easily, mood can change. So the mind is like a child. Sometimes it can get jumpy, get too excited, get upset, panicky. So in order to educate the mind, we have to use the intellect on the basis of knowledge and talk to the mind. Okay, mind, it's okay. It's not so bad. Don't worry about it. Take it easy. It'll be all right. This dialogue has to happen in order to discipline the mind on the basis of Baba's knowledge. So Baba has said, if you want to see the treasure which is hidden behind that curtain of loss, then you need 3 things. You need patience, because the curtain may not part straight away. You need to wait a little bit. In anything in life, you need patience. Some certain food you want to eat, it takes time for it to be ready. So patience is necessary in order for me to receive ripe fruit. If I'm in a hurry, I eat something which is not ripe, okay, you have a stomachache. So patience is needed for the treasure to become visible. Second thing you require is tolerance, which means for some time, the situation or the conditions you are in may not be as comfortable as you would like. You have to tolerate something for some time. Third thing you require is to be introverted, which means that my attention be internalized rather than extroverted, where I am lost in the unnecessary details of things, and even worse, where I am starting to correct what others are doing, not doing, should be doing, could be doing, why aren't they doing? When we are extroverted in this way, then we lose the chance to grow. We lose the chance to learn. We lose the chance to mature. So these 3 things are the tools to be able to see the treasure hidden behind that curtain of loss. Patience, tolerance, and introversion. So there the focus is then, shifting from fixing the world and fixing situations to fixing my own inner kingdom. And the chance for doing this is only now, in whatever remains of the confluence age. And we have so much material to work on, so many Avyakt Murlis we have to study and go into the depth of, to see where I can get that power to be able to become the self-sovereign once again. And therefore we must take every opportunity we have to learn and to mature as Baba students. Coming together, studying together, having yoga together. It's a real blessing when a group of yogis are sitting together in the remembrance of God. It's different to being even on your own, to be in the vibration, like to be together here tonight, yogis together in Baba's house, practicing to be soul conscious, practicing to connect to Baba together. And when one bird flies, it inspires all the other birds to fly as well. So that's a great gift that we have wherever I go in the world, I find that to be in the vibration of the yogi souls is a real privilege. Yeah? It awakens things in you which you cannot awaken by yourself. There's only so far you can go on your own, but in the atmosphere, in the power of the gathering, you can go much further. I remembering a scene once when I used to be in UK, that I used to be in London, and then I'd moved to Oxford, where there was a small center in the city of Oxford, not the retreat center, that came later, but the city of Oxford. And so there was a very small family at that time. There was maybe 4 or 5 Brahmins only. And so I remember Dadi Janki said, try to come to London on a Sunday morning, however often you can, because the big class in London on a Sunday morning, Dadi was there and other seniors and hundreds of Brahmins, so it was like a big boost. And I remember it was a bit like this, that imagine you're driving your car, it's raining, and the wheel gets stuck in the mud. So you come out of the car and you're trying to move the car, but it's too heavy for you. You're pressing the accelerator, but the wheel is just spinning, skidding, doesn't go anywhere. And then suddenly a group of friends turns up and they lift the car for you out of the hole and you're on your way again. So my experience was this, that when I would go to London in the big gathering, it was like the atmosphere just supported me and helped me to come out of any waste thought cavity that I may have fallen into. Sometimes you get stuck, you get trapped in a thought cycle, which then creates emotions as well, negative emotions, waste thoughts, and it just feels difficult to shift it. But I found like just being in that gathering for 3 or 4 hours where yoga together, murli, class, chit chat, eating together, it was like I was just lifted out of that mindset and was free again. And that's the real value of us, of being together and studying together, and sharing together. Because there's something I may say you didn't think about. There's something you may say I didn't think about a certain point of knowledge. So I think a kind of synergy, a kind of magic happens when Baba's students, when Baba's children come together, they spark things off in each other which you could not discover by your own self. Yeah? And then just one last thing is Baba gave us a very good tool, again, of how to come out of a web of waste thoughts. And he said what happens to us sometimes is we create unnecessary thoughts about situations. Thoughts such as, why did he say this? Or she shouldn't have done that? Or why was I not consulted? How come I wasn't invited to the meeting? Or, these kinds of thoughts which may come up. And he said that what happens is that these waste thoughts are like strings. Strings. And these strings are bondages which then tie your mind. And once you've created these waste thoughts, it's very difficult to free yourself from them. It's difficult to change your emotions once you have created these waste thoughts. And so what do you need to cut string? Begins with S. Genchi. He needs scissors to cut the waste thought strings. And Baba gave a pair of scissors. And the pair of scissors is this slogan that whatever happened was good, I am good, drama is good, Baba is good. That's all. He said, just think that. That's all. And if you practice that, you cut the strings of the waste thoughts and you feel emotionally free. Free from the confusion, the heaviness, the bitterness, the feeling of injustice or whatever else. Again and again, use the scissors. Whenever you notice that mind is creating a web of waste, no mind, whatever happened was good. Another one, whatever happened was good, whatever is happening is better, whatever is going to happen will be the best. Just using, scissors have to be used. So Baba can place the scissors in your hand, but he can't force you to use them and cut. He says, sorry, I can't do that part. So then it's up to us to use, to practicalize, to utilize all these tools, tricks, tips, and techniques which Baba is giving to us. And if we are actively using them, we save so much energy of the mind. And all that saved energy helps us to stay on that throne of self-sovereignty. And then life is very, very different. You really begin to feel you're living when the mind begins to calm down and listens to you. And you feel, I can understand what golden age life is like. When you begin to get a feeling of that inner kingdom beginning to harmonize once again within you, within me, because that's how all of us were, and that's how we are becoming again. Okay, so let me pause there and just see if there's anything you'd like to say or ask or add or correct or multiply or divide. Yeah?
It's actually very nice. We enjoy. Only one thing I would like to ask is that the role for spontaneity. Sometimes in intellect we use in Zen meditation all they say spontaneity is like a child. Sometimes so to allow the experience very time rather than using the intellect all the time or the body to take on.
Yeah, it's a good question actually. Spontaneity. Well, what I noticed in I'm referring now to some senior yogis, dadis. I don't know if you met any of the dadis, but especially one of them who I knew for many years, Dadi Janki. I think some of you know her. She was very spontaneous. Suddenly she could have some idea which you couldn't think of, and so for some of us, we used to be ready for that because her thinking was like this. Some inspiration would come and it would be unplanned, very spontaneous. So I do think that there is a space for that. Intellect doesn't have to be so sort of, doesn't mean to be dull or to be too stuck in a system. But I think where there is this divinity or purity within the self, then the spontaneity which comes out will always be constructive. I would put it like that. Spontaneity which is without order can be damaging. But I think when we are free from the moodiness of the mind, free from negative emotions, spontaneity and creativity is very useful, and can help us to have ideas which, we may not be able to reach just with our kind of logical thinking. So I'm a big fan of that, actually, to have spontaneity. But we just need to keep checking that where is this coming from? What is the energy behind it? And if anything is coming from some kind of hurt or negative emotion or ego, then we have to a little bit put some safeguards in place so that I'm not taken in a damaging direction. So yeah, that's how I would see that.
Just one more.
Yeah.
Are we just conditioning this kind of thing? We call it conditioning people or whatever it is. Is it okay to condition ourselves, or can we go beyond conditioning? For example, I come every day.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good ones, I understand.
Yeah.
Are we not conditioning it? What is your take on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another good question. My take is this, that I think, we are coming from a space of conditioning already, which has been damaging. So there's so many behaviors that we have, which are just conditioned behavior based on body consciousness. But here, it's a study, And that's what I like about here, is that don't just accept things, think about it, study it, research it, practice it, apply it, experience it, discover it, and then find your truth as a result. So yeah, our system is come every day, but why come every day? Don't just do it because somebody tells you. Also think of, what is the science behind this? What is the reason for all the systems that we have here? How does it help you to be soul conscious and to be free? And that's another discussion to go into, of course. For example, we know that if I want to be soul conscious and continue to develop my soul consciousness, we live in a world which is going the other way. So just by being out in the world, we get influenced. And we sort of lose track and we get out of alignment. So the experience is, when we come to the center again, practice meditation, study the knowledge, it just realigns me once again to go in the right direction. And so there we have to approach it as a study, not just tick the box. Yes, I went to the center, I listened to the Murli. Okay, what did you hear? I don't know, I heard it. What do you remember? Nothing. There's no point in doing that. It's a study. You have to listen, question as a student, probe, understand, write down some points. And by the time you leave, have at least one point in your heart which you're going to think about for the day. Make it meaningful for yourself, not just a tick box exercise. If it's a tick box exercise, after a while, you'll stop doing it. You think, what's the point? And so here, Baba always says, there are no followers here. There are only leaders. The aim is to become a leader of your own self. And I may just add one more thing to this, if I have a couple more minutes. How to approach this whole study, especially the Murli. And everyone has to look within themselves and understand their own psychology. Your way of understanding Murli is different to hers, different to hers, different to his, different to mine. So I found four approaches you can have according to how you may be feeling on a particular day. So sometimes, for example, you can listen to the knowledge as a scientist. Now, what do scientists like to do? Discover, experiment, research. They don't just accept things. They say, where is the proof? So Baba says something in the Murli. Okay, as a scientist, research it. Baba says a certain point, throughout the day, I'm going to research. What does this mean? How does it work? How does it look like? What would be the benefit of applying it? How would it change my situation? Scientific inquiry, that approach towards Gyan. Another day, you can approach as an artist. Now, what do artists like to do? Hmm? Yeah, yeah, but artists like to use creativity, no? Artists like to feel things. It's different to scientists. If you have a scientist and an artist working together on a project, expect a few fireworks. If you have a modern art painting on the wall, scientists will say, this is nonsense. What is it? It means nothing. There's no logic, no reason, no rationale behind it. Artists will say, yeah, but how does it make you feel? What's the feeling you get from it? Which is also beautiful. The scientific way to approach truth, beautiful. Artistic way to approach truth, also beautiful. So sometimes you can listen as a scientist, sometimes as an artist. Baba himself sometimes says, today the father, the master of the garden, is seeing the flowers. Today, Baba, in the divine constellation of stars. Today, Baba, the artist. Like, he has different forms as a teacher, so we can have different forms as students as well. We have to be active in this. Third one could be a philosopher. What do philosophers like to do? They like to ponder, no? Philosophers, it's like rodents thinker. They like, how about, what if? Don't like too much structure. They just like to float like a cloud. Take a certain point, take an idea, just float with it for the whole day. Just be with it and let's see where this takes me. Entering into the world of truth, like a philosopher going deeper and deeper into exploration. That's another way of approaching truth is like the philosopher. Then there can be a fourth one, which is like a soldier. Now, what do soldiers like to do? Action. Soldier means discipline. Get the job done. So don't think about it too much. Just do it. Don't hesitate. Don't pontificate. Don't make it something it's not. Just do it. And soldier would say, yes, sir. So if you have accepted someone as your commander-in-chief, you say, yes, sir. So sometimes Baba says something in the Murli, you have to say, yes, sir. Don't make excuses. And even Baba sometimes, he says in the Murli, the Father advises you to do X, Y, Z. Sometimes he says the Father orders you. So even he has different forms. So sometimes to lift you out of your laziness and your comfort zone and your carelessness, sometimes it's necessary, okay, soldier, just do it. Don't make excuses about it. Talking to the self. So why I'm saying this is that, not to fall into conditioned behavior. Be active, be proactive, use your creativity, make it alive for yourself, make it fun, make it meaningful. Every day I should be moving forward, not just doing what we used to do before. I go to the temple, the church, the mosque, the synagogue. Here it's a study. Yeah? The study means progress towards the final goal. So Baba does his bit, but I have to be my own teacher as well and be the custodian of my own journey towards becoming complete. Okay. Number 23, you have something.
Om Shanti. I have a question is, be engage in the work after you have done, we have done our morning, whatever murlis and
Yeah.
we listen all. So when we reach to the work and when the work is a busy schedule, so I would like to ask is, I would like to get advice is how we keep Baba in our remembrance, because once we get engaged to the work, we lost.
Yeah. What kind of work do you do?
We are in a factory.
So manual work, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Manual as well as on the computers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it's a very practical question. My experience was this, when I first started working in London, I was working for British Telecom and I was handling finances, payments and writing checks and all that. But I didn't know how to be a yogi and do the job. So I was like doing the job at the same time trying to be in the soul world. It didn't really work. Found myself making mistakes. But I thought, I have to be in the soul world and practicing the bodiless state and so on. Then I understood by talking to some brothers in Madhuban actually that, so what you should do is you go to the job, you sit down, first you become soul conscious. You remember Baba is your boss. You're not working for that man sitting in the office. Baba is your boss. Be soul conscious. And then especially if it's intellect-based work, like figure work, finance work, computer work, you have to use your intellect fully. Otherwise you make a mistake. So first be soul conscious, be in the right stage, and then get busy in doing the thing properly. Then when there's a few moments at a certain time, okay, I have some traffic control now. Come out of that and just refresh yourself. And then later on, again, go to something else. So traffic control really helps with this. Also, the morning meditation, if you have a good morning meditation, through the day, it helps to keep your stage stable. So these little tricks to build into your day. If it's manual work you're doing, where you don't need so much intellectual engagement, it's a little easier. Like, you're talking to Baba, having a conversation with Baba as you go about doing the manual work. If it's intellectual work, you do need the full concentration of your intellect to do it properly.
Yeah, actually, when there are meetings and meetings and meetings, so we are lost. So I have the answer. I got the answer is we have to have some traffic control, even though we are busy. So
Yeah.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, Om Shanti. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think Om Shanti. We put our hands together to thank Brother Yogesh. So Brother Yogesh program is tomorrow. He's here for Muli. If we can make it, it'll be good. Some of you. So the Muli starts at 5:30. He can be here by 6 morning class, and then after that he goes back to Irasi. So Irasi, they have a couple of programs like serving the teachers, serving the professionals, and even serving the Brahmins. On Sundays, a big crowd in Irasi. Okay, so what we do now, we just have a short meditation. Then yogis will give Toli and blessing. Okay, and then we have a group photograph. Is it okay? Group photograph, yeah. Okay, Om Shanti.
Okay, so in this meditation, just come to your golden throne. Brother, say something. Just come to your golden throne. Just practice being there. I, the soul, on my golden throne in the center of the forehead. And when I am seated on my throne, the mind becomes very peaceful. The intellect is very stable and clear, and my divine sanskars are naturally emerged. The five senses are my five cooperative workers, bringing information about the world to me, the sovereign. In my inner world, in my inner kingdom, there is complete order, complete peace. This is how I used to be for half the cycle. This is how I am becoming once again. I remember this is my original and my natural stage. I, the self-sovereign soul. I, the Swaraja. Let me remain on my golden throne at all times. Om Shanti.